Boruto Chapter 80 continues with him on the run from the village, but they've made the rogue ninja experience that he's facing a bit easier on him, because now he has a few powerful people on his side who he can rely on, and if there's anyone who knows what it's like to be a rogue ninja, it's Sasuke, so he'll definitely be able to guide him and show him how to move around so they don't get a hold of him. All the time he spent hiding out with Orochimaru has finally paid off, because now they're gonna need that knowledge if they're gonna have any chance of surviving, or he's gonna have to learn how to access different dimensions. But it seems unlikely for now because he doesn't know how to use a Jogan yet. He'll eventually learn more about it while he trains with Sasuke. But the most surprising thing from this chapter was that Sarada awakened her Mongekyo Sharingan in a way that we haven't seen before. It usually happens when they lose someone close to them, and the emotion of seeing that person die allows them to gain access to that power. But in Sarada's case, it was a traumatic experience of feeling like she's lost everyone close to her, which triggered that emotion and caused her to unlock her new Sharingan. Because watching someone you know act strange is almost like seeing that person die. From her perspective, it's like the people she once knew doesn't even exist anymore. Mongekyo already explained that those who aren't affected will suffer more, because their memories won't match up with their reality. This created the perfect environment for her to be in the emotional state that's required for her to unlock the Mongekyo Sharingan. Kawaki's not really worried about Ada, because her powers don't affect him. The only person he really has to be concerned about is Daemon, who wasn't there with her at the moment. She didn't seem to want to tell Shikamaru that Boruto killed the Hokage, but he grabbed her and forced her to tell him that he did, which will make it a lot worse for him because now they're gonna see him as a murderer. She wasn't trying to use her powers to harm anyone. She wasn't even aware that she could do something like that. Only Amada knew her true power because he created her, and he was desperate in that moment to not let Kawaki get caught. So he must have triggered it with a built-in device, or it was an emotional reaction because she didn't want to see him get hurt. I think we'll get the answer when we find out if he was affected or not. Shikamaru relays the information to everyone else that he killed the Hokage, and Sumire quickly realized that it was the flash that she saw earlier that did something. She's also unaffected and they haven't given us a reason yet, but I think they'll play a major role in giving them information from inside the village so they can know more about their next move on what Kawaki might be up to. Ada will also be helping them because she seems to have regrets about what happened, so they won't have to worry about taking her down anymore, and they can focus more on stopping Kawaki. We can't really see him as a villain because he believes that he's doing this for the village, and Momoshiki was absolutely up to something bad, but the way he went about doing this will hurt a lot more people than it will help them. He doesn't have a full understanding of how omnipotence works. He said that after he dealt with Boruto and Code, then he will unseal Naruto, but he already told him that he's dead, so even if he succeeds and Naruto returns, everyone will be confused that he's alive, and he'll be living in a world that he doesn't understand, which will leave all of them mentally ruined. The only way to fix this is to undo the jutsu or to keep him sealed forever, which he doesn't plan on doing. Daemon finds him shortly afterwards and tackled him to the ground, but he tells him that he'll kill him too if he doesn't get off him, implying that he may have found a way to stop them. He already knows that he has to separate them, then maybe he can catch him off guard with a sealing jutsu, because he only reflects the intent to kill or any attack that would cause damage, but a sealing technique is a non-lethal method, then he can deal with Ada. Sasuke found Sarada, who was sitting on the ground by herself in complete disbelief about what's going on. She explained to him that Misuke is acting strange and he went after Boruto to kill him, but he responds by telling her that it's a completely normal reaction because he tried to kill Kawaki, and he's responsible for Naruto and Hinata's death. At this point she was completely confused and started to wonder why they were all acting so unusual. Sumire got in touch with her to explain that she's aware about what's happening, but she knows that she's very emotional and she might not be able to handle the fact that it's a lot worse than she thinks it is. After she realized how much trouble he was actually in, it drove her further into the emotional state that's necessary to unlock the Mongekyo Sharingan. Sasuke unlocked his after he found out the truth about Itachi, so it's not so much the act of someone close to them dying, but more so the emotional effect that it brings. Shikadai, Chocho and Inogen managed to trap Boruto after ambushing him. They're also convinced that he's a traitor, and they were ready to do whatever they could to take him down. The only concern here was that if Momoshiki appeared, he wouldn't use any form of restraint against them, and that's also why he needed to get away from them. Sumire continued to explain to her that Ada must have had something to do with it, because only a Senjutsu could do something this powerful, and she must have saved Kawaki from being captured because they wouldn't be going after Boruto under normal circumstances. Sarada starts to break down after it finally sunk in that they're going after him because they think Kawaki's innocent and that he's the culprit. I'm surprised that Sumire was able to pick up on these things so quickly. It's clear why she was the class rep and why Sarada spent all that time trying to figure out if Sakura was her mom. Even her own child thinks she's not capable enough to give birth. They really need to stop making those memes that she's useless because it's created too many problems already. As she turned to Sasuke with tears in her eyes, she started to plead with him that Boruto would never do anything to hurt the Hokage, and they're all being fooled into thinking that he's Kawaki. But he continued to tell her that they can't ignore what he's done, and they have no choice but to go after him. But before he could turn around and leave, Sarada grabbed him and begged him to listen to the only favor that she'll ever ask of him, even if he doesn't understand what she's saying. As she looked up at him, a unique pattern of a Sharingan which resembles the shape of a sun appeared in her eyes. Some people might have a different idea about what it actually looks like, but that's my personal opinion. She then asked him to please help Boruto. Sasuke was surprised that she had awakened the Mongekyo Sharingan, and that's why he realized that something wasn't right, because it takes a deep connection with someone for it to happen, but in his mind she didn't have that connection with him. It made him start to question what was actually happening. It seemed like Momoshiki was about to take over Boruto's body to fight Shikada and his teammates. He's trying to use the fact that everyone is against him now to weaken him mentally, and make him lose his will to want to live so he can take over his body for good. He activated the Karma Seal to start attacking them and told him that he has no friends, only enemies. He started playing these mind games with him, saying that everyone wants him dead, there's nowhere he belongs, and no reason for him to live, so he should go to sleep forever. And just when he was about to give in and lose consciousness, Sasuke came in and grabbed him and told him that they should get out of the village. He's now going to be seen as a traitor as well because he's helping someone who they think is an enemy. So he's effectively going back to the time when he was a rogue ninja in their minds. He explained that to him Kawaki is a student and Naruto's son. He still believes that Boruto did all those things, but he clearly made that decision after he saw what happened to Sarada. He's more likely to follow his conviction regardless of what is seen as a norm, because he's already been a rogue ninja. Ada saw what was going on and went with Damon to find him, but I think the fact that she didn't attack them and apologize instead for what happened made him a bit more certain that he made the right decision. He brought him to a secure location where the Sensu and the team wouldn't find him, but says that they won't be able to hide from her, so they can only rest for a short minute then keep moving. Boruto asked him why would he help him if he thinks he's an enemy of the village. He replied telling him that the headband he's holding is the one he gave to Kawaki, yet he's the one who has it. And he can also sense the presence of Momoshiki inside him, which shouldn't be surprising because the Uchiha clan can sense the presence of a tailed beast inside the Jinchuriki. You can see that his memory is clouded and he's struggling internally to find the truth, but it's usually the smallest things that have the biggest impact and they're all adding up slowly to help him clear his mind. He goes on to say that even if he doubts himself, he'd believe in the fact that Sarada wants to help him, that it's worth risking his life for, because he knows that she'd never lied to him and there are things that are proving that she's telling the truth. Momoshiki starts to discourage Boruto that even if he helps me it wouldn't make a difference, and even if they were to kill Ada it wouldn't change anything, which means that they're probably gonna have to kill Kawaki instead, or get her to use the senjutsu that can reverse it. He's grown more desperate to take over his body and he's using more psychological methods to do it, but it doesn't seem to be working and it's driving him to the point of insanity. He starts to scream at him that he should just hand over his body, but Boruto's still unbothered by what he's saying and tells him to be quiet. Immediately afterwards, Ada arrived and apologized for what happened. The fact that she's now on his side makes it a lot more easy for him, because he wouldn't be able to hide anywhere. She would just be telling them where to find him, but she said that she won't be doing that as a way to amend for the mistake that was made. Koda is also affected and he'll also be going after him instead of Kawaki, but with Sasuke there with him we might see an interesting encounter between them, and it might be how he actually ends up dying, because Koda's a lot more stronger than Jigen was since he got his limiters removed. We're gonna have to see how effective his training will be and how much stronger he'll get to handle his opponents. Things aren't looking as bad as they were for him in the previous chapter. I'm curious to see what new power Sarada's Mongekyo Sharingan will give her. I know these videos don't come out as soon as you'd like because I do my own editing, and I'm trying to get them out as soon as I can, but I still like to share my opinion with you guys and I'd love to hear your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one. Until then, this is Kage Levels signing out.